Hi all, let's look at another very interesting game from the Altibox Norway tournament. Caruana against Nakamura. So this is in round 9. E4 from Caruana. We have a Sicilian defense. And we go into a knight off, and in particular we have this bishop g5, which leads to the poison pawn variation. Now usually the move is queen d2. This is very, very heavily trodden territory with queen d2. Now in this game, quite fascinatingly, Caruana actually chose queen d3. Just to show the general gist, queen d2, a lot of games continue like this. It's a very, one of the sharpest lines in the Sicilian defense, and there's even a load of games from this position. We're talking 170 games even from there. So this is all, yeah, I mean, this is, I know this looks crazy, h5, and then knight takes f6 check. But this has all been seen before. So this position has got even a lot of games, and it's off bishop e7 here. It's the verdict here in this critical position is it's about equal, because black's king safety is a big problem on both sides of the board. So that just shows how razor sharp this line is. But in this game we get queen d3, so that's a bit of an innovation. There's still a load of games here with queen d3 as well, this alternative. The game here goes queen takes b2, now f5, this is the main move, f5, now taking on e6, bishop e2. And now one of the points is shown that the d2 square can be used. Queen's not on d2, and actually knight d5 might be threatened here. So the queen gets out of the way to c7. Just to quickly show you, if the queen doesn't, knight d5 here, knight b6, and this is really annoying for black. Say e5 check, knight here, this position. In fact, there could be a problem on f7 now. Yeah, this is sort of tying down black on the queen side. So yeah, it's wise for the queen to get out of the way. We have g4, so very aggressive ideas in this game. So that poison pawn, how poisoned is it? Black is currently a pawn up, of course. Rook g1 now. So that h6 stopped the g5, but now g5 is coming anyway, and there's a quirky move suggested by engines. I'm not sure how good this actually is in practice, but it's actually to defend this with this move. If there's no concrete way of exploiting that odd looking rook, maybe this is the way to go, but it looks a little bit, yeah, quirky to play that rook h7, but maybe it's necessary. In the game we see knight c6, so maybe Nakamura's just looking to castle queenside and put a lot of pressure on the center and just give up the pawn as a sort of gambit. But there's a nasty surprise waiting in this position, maybe, that he might not have expected. White play. Can you guess what white plays in this position? Because otherwise, you know, it looks actually a bit of a wreck. This pawn's under fire. You know, black's connected to his rooks. The white king's still in the center. So this could be really tricky to play with any normal move. It has to be said if you look at the situation here. But white does something quite forceful. Knight c b5 just gives up a knight there. So what's going on here? That is actually taken. I mean, what else? If queen b6, then knight takes d6. Looks pretty good. Let's check that. So it's taken. Let's just quickly look at queen b8. That looks as though there's something horrible about this. Knight takes. Knight d4 may be sufficient, threatening all sorts of things. And if, say, queen here, well, we can just take on. Actually, we can even take on e7, and the black's king is just getting crunched, basically. So there's all sorts of dangers here. The knight has to be taken, really. The queen can't just go back. So we have knight takes, and now let's have a look here. If queen here, rook takes e7 is actually quite crushing, because we get this position where black's king is again shot to pieces. For example, like this. It's this sort of devastation. So, but basically, yeah, that's too dangerous. Queen b8 again. Queen b6 again is knight d6. So we have knight e5 counter-attacking white's queen. So we have a exchange of queens basically. That's quite interesting. But this position here is slightly better for white. Now probably even better. Black maybe should have. There's something more tactical available here. Black defended the e7 bishop. What is going on here? So say he attacks the rook, then this keeps an attack going. Rook f7 is very good after bishop a5. Very good for white after bishop a5 check. This position is very good for white. The exchange up. So it's a tricky position here. And if the simple king takes, this is just better for white. There's ideas like bishop a5 check and rook c1 check. So yeah, but perhaps there's a really tactical idea in rook takes h2 here, giving up e7 for this check to get a pin. I know this is really tactical, but this with this pin actually black. This might actually have been black's best technical shot in the game, and black might actually even be better here. Yeah, this seems to be the technical route to at least equality, to play that strange looking, you know, giving up a piece just to get a massive pin later and get the piece back with interest. But knight g8 is played instead, and so you might wonder, well, where's this knight going? If knight b5, then rook takes h2, and that, I believe that might have been black's point. That black's fine there, nearly absolutely fine. But white actually played a strange looking move. Knight on the rim is dim, but knight in the corner is even worse usually. Knight a8, but it's coming out with a vengeance for b6 check, so it's not that bad. It's a temporary inconvenience, maybe even stronger as this with ideas of knight b5. Yeah, that's let's have a look. So say takes here, it's dangerous anyway for black. So anyway, knight a8 was played, king b8, knight b6, and white's a little bit better here. After rook f7 we have rook f8, tricky moves. The rook comes back. If we take stock here, white's actually now, funny enough, a pawn up. So, and seems to have control over some key squares. The rooks are doubling now. It looks quite easy for white to play actually. He's going just for black's king there. Yeah, 2 pawns up, and the bishop is just protected with h3 there. Knight e7, knight c6, not minding giving a pawn up for simplification, ripping through that b file a bit. Again, further simplification there, even if it's opposite coloured bishops. And white is much better now. In fact, so the threat is actually a mate, a forced mate sequence after bishop takes. If black doesn't do anything about this radically, he actually radically took here. So say rook here. Let's have a look. Bishop takes and check and mate. Actually, yes. So this is actually threatening to just take him rook c2. Yeah, checkmating. So even though it's opposite colour bishops, if d5 to give d6, I'm not sure this helps. E5, and then we've woven the mating net again for rook c2 basically. That's pretty hopeless for black. So black tries an exchange sack. Nakamura tries the exchange sack, but I think his position now is on his last legs. Rook c8 check cannot be permitted, surely. Here, he took the rook off. If rook f7, then this kind of thing for rook c4, mate, is very dangerous. If we have this position, yeah, white can get the exchange of rooks anyway, and just gets that pawn on d5. In the game, yeah, black just takes that. So it's the exchange down and a pawn down, but Nakamura tries to fight on a bit. Yeah, it's looking a bit lost and desperate now. The exchange up, and black's pieces are just being pushed back, and the white pawns are just advancing. Now rook takes f6, simplifying. Yeah, 3 pawns up is overloading any knight and king here. Yeah, the knight and king is not holding these pawns. So here, black resigned on move 59. It's actually a super complex game, which, yeah, is an example of the modern game, really, with huge, sometimes technical preparation. I imagine for this particular game there was huge technical preparation for queen d3. So picking a slightly rarer move than the main beaten path, but still razor sharp positions in nature. So yeah, okay, I hope you found it interesting anyway. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.